Gohan father shouts for him to run away. We're brought back to the moment Goku sacrificed himself against Raditz.
What? Son, what have you done?
But missing. Goku apologizes. That shot to the ribs made him let go. But that was their one chance. It's over. Raditz hisses, they've gone too far. Firing! Oh! Piccolo seemingly gone. Goku grunts to the monster he won't get away with this. But his wayward brother scowls, it's over. He had his chance. If he had cooperated, the situation would have been very different. They're all going to die and he is responsible for it. Obliterating the only reason he came to Earth in the first place, to recruit Goku. What a waste of time this all was. Then a question arises. What about the kid? Raditz makes the rash decision to just finish him off now. After the hit to the chest, he's already too dangerous to leave alive. Then a second thought occurs. What if he brought him back with him? It could be useful to him. If they trained him, he could be a great asset. After all, he only came here to recruit a Saiyan anyway. Signaling to Vegeta, he knows he's been listening through the scouter. If he refuses, let it be known now. Moments later, he leaves. And Goku's friends arrive at the battleground. Unfortunately, this man, this alien, was far too powerful. Krillin cries at the loss of his friend. It's not possible! When Bulma reveals the situation is far worse than it seems, she can't find Gohan. Roshi immediately believes the Saiyan must have kidnapped him. So what are they going to do? But there's nothing they can do. For now, they are powerless against this Saiyan. If he took Gohan, he kept him alive. That's a good thing. They shouldn't forget that there are two other Saiyans. If they land, they have to be ready. They need to find Yamcha, Ten, Shinhan, and Chaozu. They're facing an unprecedented crisis. They'll need everyone. Before they even get a chance to process the situation, our heroes are already planning their next move. Though with Piccolo dead, that means they don't have Dragon Balls anymore, leaving a lonely Popo atop the lookout. Possibly years later, Vegeta and Nappa stand shoulder to shoulder, the former announcing it's gonna be quick. Looking back, Raditz knows how the streets are quiet. Night has fallen and the moon is clearly visible. It's time to attack. Nappa asking where he has gone again. His leader points out he's up there. Going back to shortly after Gohan's kidnapping, He's heard crying from one of Frieza's planets as Raditz screams for him to shut up. In fact, if he doesn't shut up, he'll have to kill him. Sniffling. The Saiyan continues that he should consider himself lucky to still be alive. Vegeta would have liked to crush him, and he himself doesn't lack the desire either. If he doesn't want to get beat up anymore, he needs to keep quiet. Kind of giving vibes of Piccolo's training. He scoffs further, the kid is going to live with them from now on, so he'd better get used to his new life and stop crying. He is a Saiyan. Of course, the scared child can only whimper out to his mother, terrified of what's happening. Planet Stave. 10 years later. Resorting to the Azora form to conquer a planet in just one night, Nappa senses out any survivors. Raditz rolls his eyes that sure it was easy for Nappa. Everybody was targeting him. At least Frieza will be happy with him. Speaking of, he's asking for the 4 of them to report, surely to assign him to a new mission. If 10 years have passed since Gohan was kidnapped, this should place us just a bit after the Cell Games. As we speculate on what our Earth heroes have been up to, Frieza addresses his Saiyan platoon. He compliments the conquest of Planet Stove was done rather quickly. They have been effective, and he recognizes that. They will continue with some more distant planets. A team has already been sent, but he would like them to intervene on a few worlds. Especially since 2 of them are already familiar with one. This planet Earth, where their young friend is from. Looks like Raditz had some trouble there in the past, so he wants all 4 to go. It'll be easier. Agreeing to go without resistance. Frieza reminds he will not tolerate failure. Then warns the recent little exploits not go to their head. They remain inferior beings. Don't forget that. Walking out, Raditz vents that he just can't stop denigrating him, but Vegeta doesn't want to hear it. It's because of him they have to go to Earth in the first place. Having to waste time on this planet's annoying. If he hadn't nearly lost to Kakarot, Frieza would have just sent someone else. Once they get there, he better do his best to make use of himself for once. Turning to Gohan, he says the same. He better not disappoint either. He doesn't want to have to intervene. Asking if Vegeta still doubts him after everything he's done. Nappa has to agree with the kid. Nazu has nothing more to prove. Something they will have to see. They're going to his planet. Nappa's little protege better not hold back. Nazu takes exception to this. He thinks that just because this is his supposed home planet he'd pull his punches, he must think very little of him. Nappa touches his shoulder to warn him against angering Vegeta. He's going too far. It seems in this story, Vegeta's temperament only worsened as time went on. Furthermore, he assures he understands the child's frustration, but they don't talk to the prince that way. He knows that. Offering a meek sorry. The prince scoffs for the kid to watch his words. He won't always be so lenient. They leave in 4 hours. They all need to get ready. A long road awaits them. As Vegeta falls out of earshot, Nappa reminds he doesn't like being contradicted or challenged.